everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer and today we are playing with new makeup. We have Pat McGrath, we have Suqqu, and we have the Dior Wild Brown eyeshadow quint. So if you're interested in seeing all of that, just stay tuned. Hey everybody, so I got a lot of stuff in the mail today. It's funny, like I don't get anything for like forever and then everything shows up on the exact same day. So I got the things that I ordered from the new Pat McGrath collection, the Divine Rose Luxe. This is the quad, it's the Eternal Eden quad. I haven't even opened it yet. I have the highlighter, which we're gonna use today. I have a bunch of Suqqu. I went and bought the remaining eyeshadow quads. So now I have all the Suqqu eye quads that just came out. So I think it's Lexi Zhang's fault. I blame her. So I have all of those and I've done 2 looks already and I still have, so now I have 5 more. You can let me know which ones you're interested in. I have the Tom Ford Leopard eyeshadow palette that I'm gonna compare to the Desert Fox and some others. I've got Suqqu lips. Craziness today. So anyway, so I thought we'd play with a little bit from everything, and we'll incorporate, of course, the Dior Wild Brown, which I've talked about. So let's go in. I've got foundation on. I have the By Terry Densillous foundation in the number 1, something fair shade. Let's go in with some Dior bronzer and luminizer, and then we'll get into, Dior bronzer, and then we'll get into the Pat McGrath highlighter. So this is the Dior Skin Mineral Nude Bronze. I'll show you what this looks like. This is in a 01. Let's bronze up the face a little bit today. How's everybody doing? Everyone doing well? Everyone starting to feel like they want to go somewhere, anywhere. Yeah, you know, I tell myself like how lucky I am, haven't gotten sick, my family's all well, but you know, there are days you're like, I want to go outside. And of course I go outside, I'm here in New England and it's very cold and there's no grass anywhere, it's just snow everywhere. So let's try the Pat McGrath. This is the Divine Rose Skin Fetish Ultra Glow Highlighter. So it comes in this iridescent pink. It's really very pretty packaging. It reminds me a little bit of the Natasha Denona Love, Mini Love. This is pinker. That one has more of like a redder tone. So that's what it looks like. Let me swatch it for you. It's very pretty. It's got a sort of peachy pink. Let's compare it next to the Pat McGrath from Holidays. This is the Champagne Gold. Very different packaging as well. So this is the new one. This is the so interesting because the Champagne Gold to me looks like champagne. The Champagne Gold to me looks like rose, and the Divine Rose looks like champagne. Like they look like they would be the opposite names for each other, but who am I to judge Mama Pat? She knows what she's doing. All right, let's go ahead and try the highlighter on. Let's go in with the Wayne Goss. This is the medium size brush. I always use this brush when I'm doing highlighter for the first time because it's a very diffused, very light application. And then I can intensify if I want to, but I, you know, will unlikely go too far on the first swipe. I mean, that's beautiful. I think you can see that pretty easily. Yeah, to me, this is a champagne glow. Yeah, I don't think it's rosy. I think it's like more of that champagne peachy kind of shade, but I definitely think it's pretty. And it's not too deep for someone who's got pale skin, which is always my concern when I'm looking at highlighters, because when you're really pale, highlighters can be like too much on a really pale skin. All right, so next we will go in with the blush from Suqqu. This is in, what shade is this? I think this is the 125, yes, 125. And we'll keep to this side of it. The way the blushes work in the Suqqu, like it's definitely all blush, but if you use one side more than the other, you'll get more blush or more highlight. Or if you can just blend them together, you just get a beautiful ethereal look. For this, because I've already got the highlighter down, we're just gonna go in with the more blush side of the palette. And these blushes, the Suqqu blushes, are just beautiful. I mean, they look gorgeous on. You can definitely build them up, but they also just have like just a very pretty watercolor. I know I keep saying watercolor when I talk about Suqqu, but that's what they feel like. They're just, and that's what they look like. They're just very light, just a beautiful wash of color. So we've got the Pat McGrath highlighter, which I think looks gorgeous in the Divine Rose. We have the Suqqu blush in 125. We've got the bronzer on from Dior, which I've had for a while. And let's go into the Wild Brown. Now, I will be doing, and I know I've said this a million times, I will be doing a ranking video, so we'll get into that. But I want to mention about the Wild Brown that this came with the Blooming Bouquet, and then the Pink Sakura came out before. They don't look alike. I talked about that in my other video. They do have a similarity to the Bouquet Ombre by Chanel that just came out. This was the spring collection that wasn't released in the US. And I think it also is going to have a similarity to the Chanel LeBlanc collection, which I don't have yet. That is still on its way. So I think we might see some similarities there. I also think it looks a little bit like the Mitza palette, and we'll look at that at the end. It doesn't, the Suqqu palettes, I'll take a look at the Suqqu palettes in coming days and see if it looks like any of those. But let's do the look today, more of just sort of a get ready with me, first impressions of the products, and then we'll, if there are quads or quints that you think would like immediately come to mind to compare them with, I can certainly do that like I've done with others in the past. This is the Wild Brown. And I did swatch it in the other video, but it doesn't mean you've seen that video. Although you should see all my videos. It's a really pretty quint. I mean, I have to say, I am no longer like unbiased on the Dior quints, because I do have all of them and I do like all of them. I've said this before, it's really hard for me to rank them, because I just think they're all special in their own way, but I will do my best. Okay, that's the color story. It's really pretty. But as you can see, it's definitely, to me, it kind of looks, I don't know, it doesn't really look spring, but I mean, that's just, who's to say what colors are spring and which colors are winter or which colors are autumn? It just, to me, you know, that says more autumn, but again, what do I know? So I think this is a matte. I think these are mattes. I think this is a shimmer or satin, same with this one. All right, let's go in with this shade first. Like I said, we'll go in with the Wayne Goss number 4. This shade is very similar to my skin tone, warmer, but similar, yeah, very similar to my skin tone, but warmer. So you know how pale I am, so that gives you an idea of the shade. I was talking to a friend the other day about Westman Atelier now being at Sephora, and she was talking about what shade she was going to get in the foundation stick, and she said she was going to get a 6 because of 2 other people had, like one person had a 5, one person had a 7, and she thought she would probably be somewhere in between. And I said, yes, I'm the 0. And you know, she was just like, oh, I didn't realize you were that pale. I'm like, yep. That's the thing, like with the lights and everything, I think I don't look necessarily as pale as I really am, but when you look at the, you know, the shades that I use for like foundation and stuff, you realize, yep, I'm very pale. I mean, there's people paler than me, but a lot of the pigment actually is redness, like, you know, the rosacea, because if you look at like my hands, the inside of my wrists, they're extremely pale, and very, you know, like blue veined. That's one of the ways you can tell, one of the ways you can try to tell, like if you're more cool toned or warm toned. If you look on the inside of your wrist, is it blue? Is it green? Does it have more of a yellow cast, more of a cool cast? You can see how pale my skin is. My face has a little bit more color, because, you know, your face is a little bit different. It's gotten more sun, and the rosacea does make it a little bit more pigmented, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so we're gonna go in with, where is that brush? The Mini Booster by Sonia G. I think we'll go in with the deepest shade here. No, actually, let's go in with the redder shade. Let's go in with the red shade. Let's see what that does. Let's see how it looks on my eye. Okay, it doesn't actually look, it looks kind of burgundy. We'll have to compare it to the Mitza palette. I think this one, I think this has more of a cool toned, almost raspberry, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, to me, that looks like a little bit more like a raspberry shade, but we'll see how it looks when I put it next to the Mitza. It's hard to remember. That's more like, not absolutely sure now that I've tried so many of them, but this is the Wayne Goss 03. Just kind of buffing that out a little bit. I'm gonna take the flat definer brush, Sonia G, and I'm gonna take that brown shade, and I'm just gonna kind of put it here on the outer corner. I'll deepen it later, but that's a very pigmented shade. Has a lot of depth to it. Not that that's a bad thing. Yeah, that adds something to the edge there. Okay. Let's take the F06, the Chikuhodo brush, and go in with that middle shade, that like tan, has a little bit of satin to it. Put that on the eyelid. I think that red shade would be really pretty on the eye itself if you wanted to build the color story around that. As in, put like the tan shades and the brown shade and then the red on the eye. I think that would be really pretty. I don't know if that would look necessarily great with my coloring, but I could see that would be a pretty color story if you had like a little bit of a deeper skin tone. All right, let's take the cream shade. I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Shade and Sweep. This is the really white cream shade. It definitely has like some sparkle to it. You can see that's got some shine. Buff that in. And let's put that in the inner corner as well. Okay. And I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put a little bit on the eyelid, not a lot. And then I'm gonna take the Wayne Goss 04, go back in with the deep brown shade, and I'm gonna go in very lightly with it, just to kind of deepen up the crease on the outer corner. Go back in and buff that out. Then we'll take the Refer 03, and I'm gonna go in with that deep brown shade again and line the lower lash line. And let's put a little bit on the outer half of the eye here, on the upper, kind of deepen that up a little bit. I like that. Okay, so let me bring you in close. All right, I'll curl my lashes, put on some mascara, and then we'll look at the final look before we go to lips. Okay, we're back. We have mascara on, and I did use the Dior Overcurl. The Dior Overcurl that I have, I think, is starting to be on its last legs, and I need to get a new one. You know, you can always feel like when mascara is about to go. Plus, I think it's close to that 6-month mark that time to throw it away. So this is the final look with the Wild Brown. I really do think it's a very pretty quint. I think most people are gonna think of Mitza when they think of this one, but they're actually very different quints. They have a similar color story, I think because of the reddish shade that's in here. But the Mitza is warmer and I was gonna say spicier. It has this like shimmery, more orangey, more autumn actually kind of look. The Wild Brown on the eye actually is a softer, more spring-like look. So I can see that in the pan, yes, it's gonna have more of that autumn look, but on the eye, it does have a softer, I think, almost cooler tone. So let's swatch the red that's in both. So let's do the Mitza first. That's the Mitza. And then this is the Wild Brown. The Mitza actually is warmer, and this shade from Wild Brown actually has a cooler tone. Like I said, when it went on the eye, it almost looks more like raspberry. So even though it's Wild Brown, it's actually got a pink undertone to it. The brown from the Mitza palette does look very similar to me, but they feel very similar too. They're both very creamy mattes. Okay, so the first one is Mitza, and this is the Wild Brown. Again, can you see how much cooler this one is? It almost has like almost a purple. And this is the Mitza, definitely warmer. And then of course the other shades really aren't that similar. You've got the Wild Brown has that white sparkly shade in it, which of course Mitza doesn't. Mitza has, like, their other shades are more sparkly shades, more shimmering shades. I'll show it to you like this. Like this is almost like a topper. Can't even see it. It's like, let me see if I can dig my finger in there. See how it's like a sparkle? And the Wild Brown doesn't even have anything like that. Yeah, I mean, they're very different. So even though they might look similar in the palettes, they are not the same. The two shades that are similar are the red and the dark brown, and they're much cooler in the Wild Brown. So if you like the Mitza, but you're looking for a cooler, lighter, more spring-like look, this is it. Dior always does a great job with their quints. So what I thought might be fun for the lips is to take one of the new Suqqus. So I have a couple of new ones because I figured if I was gonna pick up the eyeshadow palettes, why not pick up some of the liquid fogs. So I have the 102 Glow. I have the 104 Fluid, and then I have the 04 Glow. So let's see what might be the best. This is the 4. If you haven't seen me talk about Suqqu before and the lip fogs, they are really interesting formula, and I really like them. They're not like a regular lipstick. It's hard to explain, but they just go on really well. They look beautiful. They stay on. The glows have less of a staying power because they're more like glossy, but all of them actually have like good staying power. It's really interesting. So this is the 04 Comfort Lip Fluid Glow. This is the 104 Comfort Lip Fluid Fog. And this is the Comfort Lip Fluid Glow in 102. So these are glows, this is fog. The middle shade? Let's go with the middle one. Let's go with the fog. I think they all might be a little too warm for the eye look today, but because it said Wild Brown, I thought it was gonna look more warm. It's actually not, it's actually cooler, but I think we can make it work. So this is the 104. It's a gorgeous terracotta shade. It's really pretty. If you're interested in that kind of shade, the like brownie orange, it's perfect. I love this shade. I don't think it's necessarily right for this eye look. I think this eye look could have used a cooler lip, but I would say I think this lip would actually look perfect with the Mitza palette. So altogether, I mean, today's been an interesting day because the Pat McGrath Divine Rose looks more champagne-y. It doesn't, to me, it looked warmer than the Champagne Gold, which looks more like pink. Again, that's just me. The Suqqu lips all have more of a browner, warmer to neutral undertone, which is exactly what I was looking for. And I absolutely love these shades. All three of them I know are gonna be favorites. And then the Wild Brown is cooler than it looks. And of course it says Wild Brown, and actually I think it is like more of a spring, a cooler look. Now it's definitely browns, but they have a cooler undertone, and that red in there, as you saw, has more of like that raspberry color. The 125 blush is definitely more of a peachy tone, so I think it's interesting. The face is more of that peach, and the lip again is more of that warm, but the eyes, it's a little bit cooler. So not bad. I just think it's just really interesting. Things went the opposite direction of what they thought they were going to, but that's okay. Worked out all right. So, but all in all, I mean, I love all the products. I love the Pat McGrath highlighter. It's certainly not too strong for pale skin, and I think you could absolutely build that up. I mean, I went in super light. And then the lip fogs and the glows, I love, and I'll be using them more and more. And the Wild Brown is a surprise. It's not at all what I thought it was gonna be. It is definitely a cooler, neutral, toned palette. Definitely more spring-like than I thought it would be. You never know until you put it on. That's the thing about swatches, like you can swatch it and it's gonna look a certain way, but when you put it on your face, I mean, it's just different, so. But all in all, I like the look. I think it looks nice. I don't know if it's spring. I think it's got more of an autumn feel, but you know, that's okay. I'm all right with that. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As you saw, I have a lot of things to try, a lot of new products, and of course I'm getting the entire Chanel LeBlanc collection coming any day now. So please put down below, what you're interested in seeing most. I'll continue doing polls to try to get your thoughts on what's coming next. And yeah, more to dig into. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.